Welcome to this week's chapter review of chapter 241 of Tokyo Revengers. This chapter is going to be about the flashback of Senju. And at the beginning there is a piece of text saying that this is the day that Mikey and Sanzu Haruchiyo changed. The chapter starts off with Mikey playing with a toy airplane. Mikey is running around the room playing with the airplane, and Shinichiro and Takemichi are also in the room. Mikey jumps over Takemichi and Takemichi tells Mikey that what he's doing is dangerous. Mikey responds by saying, "Isn't this airplane cool?" And he tells Takemichi that it is a Concord plastic model. Next we see Baji and Senju chasing after Mikey and saying that they want to play with the toy plane too. But while he is running away, Mikey calls them idiots and says that they will never lay a hand on the toy. Senju says that the model looks so cool and that she wants one too. But Takemichi tells her that is not very girlish either. In the next panel, Takemichi tells Sanzu Haruchiyo that he has been teaching Senju the wrong words. And Takemichi also says that since he is not going to be leaving home anymore, that Sanzu has to set a good example for Senju. Sanzu Haruchiyo says he is sorry to Takemichi. Suddenly the chapter skips to the present timeline of Takemichi and Senju talking about Sanzu, and Takemichi is surprised that Sanzu apologized. And Senju says that they were raised by a single father, but he was always busy. So he left them at their grandma's house. And that is why Takemichi plays the role of a father. And Senju says that because of her mistakes, Takemichi got mad at Sanzu Haruchiyo. But even so, Sanzu is still always nice to Senju. Next, the chapter suddenly skips back to the flashback and we see Senju talking to Sanzu. Sanzu says that he doesn't want to talk to Senju anymore since he always gets yelled at because of Senju. Sanzu asks why it always has to be him. And Senju apologizes to Sanzu. Sanzu says that he wishes that he knew how to talk back to Takemichi like how Mikey and Baji always do. In the next panel, Senju is alone in the room all by herself and she sees that plane that Mikey was playing with. And she gets very excited because she thinks the toy plane is so cool. Next, Senju grabs the toy and starts running around playing with it and pretending to fly it, similar to what Mikey was doing. But suddenly Senju trips and drops the plane. As she falls to the floor, she realizes the plane is broken. The next panel we see is of Mikey standing next to the broken plane. Mikey asks Senju if she saw who broke the plane. But since she was scared, Senju lied and said that it was Big Bro Sanzu who broke it. While Senju was relaxing reading a book, she heard a commotion in the backyard. And she also heard Baji yelling, "Stop it!" So she immediately went there to see what was going on. But when she arrived, she saw that Baji fell on the floor. Mikey's hands were covered in blood, and Sanzu, who was holding his mouth trying to hold back the pain, he was also shaking and wanted to cry. But he couldn't hold back the pain he felt. Sanzu immediately screamed in pain, and Senju saw that Sanzu's mouth was torn and bleeding. Mikey was just looking at Sanzu, but there was something strange going on with Mikey. He had a scary look on his face and his eyes changed. Mikey then told Sanzu to laugh. And suddenly Sanzu started laughing loudly. The chapter then switches back to Takemichi, Senju and Takemichi. After Senju finished telling Takemichi everything, she started crying and said that she regretted that the lie she told at that time could change everything. And she realized that during the war, Mikey's eyes were the same as the ones she saw when he beat Sanzu and gave him the scars on his face. Senju says that she wanted to do something, but it was too late. Takemichi and Takemichi were left speechless. But Takemichi says that it is not too late. The chapter then ends with Takemichi suddenly standing up. He takes a deep breath and shouted loudly, "I keep making more mistakes, but I can turn it around." Takemichi tells Senju to come with him and says let's overturn Bonten Gang. This chapter seemed to show that Mikey has had his dark impulses even before the death of Shinichiro and Baji. The fact that Mikey would give Sanzu those scars on his face all over a plastic toy is really cruel and terrible. It is a big twist that Sanzu Haruchiyo has been a good boy ever since he was a kid and that he never actually did anything wrong but he was still blamed for a mistake he never made. Which is really sad. And even though Sanzu was scolded so many times because of Senju, he still never got angry with Senju and had no personal grudge against her. It also does not seem like Takemichi was a very good brother to Sanzu because he was always blaming Sanzu for the mistakes that Senju made. Just because Sanzu spends the most time with Senju does not mean he should be blamed for everything Senju does. I feel really bad for Sanzu that he was treated this way by Takemichi. It seems like the way he was treated by his older brother could be a big reason of why he became a bad person in the future. Anyway, this is the end of my review for chapter 241 of Tokyo Revengers. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more videos like this one, like, comment and subscribe. And thank you for watching.